Hey everyone, welcome to my first album review. Today I want to talk about my favorite of any debut album to ever exist. This is gonna be Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, produced by Mike Klink and released on July 21st, 1987. To describe this album, I will say it's basically a Hollywood band that becomes a world famous band thanks to this record. They already had gained attention and had to release an EP to keep fans busy while they recorded what would become one of the best albums of all time. Talking about time, Slash had a hard time finding the right guitar tone for this album, before ultimately settling with the signature pairing of a Gibson Les Paul and a Marshall amp. For Axl, it took even longer to do the vocals, as he insisted on recording one sentence at a time. The drums were probably the fastest, according to Steven Adler, who has stated that he finished recording the drums in 6 days. Funny thing is, the album didn't really get popular until a year after, in 1988. For this record, most of the writing was about drugs, life in the city, or violence and running away from police. See, Guns N' Roses weren't exactly peaceful, even gaining the title of the most dangerous band. Well, anyway, on side G, you had the songs about drinking, life in the city, police, and drugs, and etc. Mr. Brownstone is obviously a famous song about drugs. Night Train is probably about drinking, or something similar to Mr. Brownstone. Paradise City about hard life in the city, as well as Welcome to the Jungle. And then you'd have Out to Get Me, about running away from police. On side R, you had more of a ballad type feel, with songs about love and sex. Sweet Child of Mine and Think About You, as well as the ending for Rocket Queen, are definitely about love and caring about someone. However, most of Rocket Queen, as well as other songs such as Anything Goes, are definitely about sex. My Michelle and You're Crazy, I'd say, might be about a failed relationship. Well, don't you know it. On the left side, we have Izzy playing and Slash on the right, if I remember correctly. Both guitars are very warm. That's what the guitars they used to give. Slash with a Les Paul and Izzy with a hollow guitar. You have very reverby drums and some overdubs of guitars. The bass fits in nicely in the mix, and Axl's vocals are just loud enough to not drown out the instruments. It's near perfect, the sound, in my opinion. It's really warm and plays with your ears, the best of my description. The story of the album cover for this album is rather eventful. When it was first released, it featured a painting by Robert Williams of the same name. We see a robot rapist and a metal avenger, a passed out drunk, almost naked woman. Yeah, it was controversial to say the least. But on later remasters, it would be released for the sleeve. Because of this controversy, stores refused to sell it, so they replaced it with a tattoo design by Billy White Jr. It's basically a purple cross with the skull of each band member. Honestly, this album cover is so legendary, and I love it so goddamn much. If there's anything this album has for it besides the mere perfect sound and music, it'd have to be the art. This is the big part. Now I will talk about 4 songs from this album that are both my favorites and I think describe this album perfectly. I will start with it starts out with a badass intro. The bass fits so well with the guitars, and the vocals are amazing. The guitar solo, all the guitar riffs, Axl's vocals, this is basically phenomenal. I can't describe this to an amazing detail, but wow. This is definitely one of the best tracks Guns N' Roses have put out. I feel this song kind of shows how Guns N' Roses can go from a catchy and upbeat chorus to a heavy and gritty verse. From the catchiness to the great drums, 80s synths, the bass, to the amazing guitar riff in the verse. And of course, like before, Axl's vocals. This is by far my favorite Guns N' Roses song. Besides, maybe I'd say Estranged. More on that later. Anyway, I do think this song is one of their most successful ones. Another famous one, but isn't it inevitable? I mean, it has one of the best guitar solos in all of music history, or at least rock and roll history. The intro is so famous, even if Slash hated it. The bass and rhythm guitar fits with the rhythm guitar so well, and so do the drums. And Axel's vocals can go from the more sad roll to a gritty roll towards the end. I think this is one of the most underrated Guns N' Roses songs. I just love the bass intro, and the echo of the guitars, and the kick-ass riffs. They absolutely beautiful ending parts. And yeah, this is an absolutely amazing song. What actually makes it unique, too, don't tell your parents I told you this, but Axel literally had sex with Steven Adler's girlfriend to get moaning onto the track during the guitar solo. Yeah, that's how wild this band was. Now, Appetite for Destruction, in my opinion, definitely deserves the title of one of the best debut albums of all time. It has such a warm and amazing sound. All the members playing bounce off of each other so well that it's almost perfection. And of course, most of the songs are amazing. It is a really, really solid record. But however, I hate to say that I don't think that Think About You is that good of a song. But it does fit. I will give it that. But even if it's not perfect, I will give it an up because I do think it has a really nice sound. I will give this album a 9.5 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Retro Tetris, and I'm out.